Dumelang guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm RENEILWE SEHLAKE, also go by the name Reni. Whichever one you can pronounce is fine by me. So, before I get into this video, first of all, we hit 1,000 subscribers. I am so excited and I thank you very much for your support, guys. I really appreciate it, and may we keep on growing as our creative home living family. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. We do anything renovation, makeovers, anything DIY, creative. It's about creative home living. Interior, I would like to say design, but anything interior wise, we do it on my channel. So if that's what you're interested in, please don't forget to subscribe, and I'm just gonna get into this week's video. So this week I'm bringing you guys a hallway makeover. Yes, that's what I'm doing. So with every single makeover that I bring to my channel, what I like to do is I like to walk you guys through the space to see what I'm working with, and to also talk you guys through my ideas. In this case, I'm just going to show you guys the space, and then we'll talk through the ideas after. This is the passage or hallway, whatever you want to call it. So this is what it looks like. It's a little bit dark now. But it has a light. It's because I closed the doors and everything, but it's usually lighter. Okay, focus. Regina, thank you. So on the right, it's the doors. It's a bathroom. You guys have seen the bathroom renovation. I will link it down below and have it up here as well. So it's these two walls on either side of these doors. And then opposite, when you walk out of the bathroom, you see this plain wall. I'm gonna try and get in the bathroom so I can get it like perfect or there. So these were DIY'd. So this is what it looks like, and then there's this wall as well by the bedroom. Alright, so that's what the space looks like. As you can see, I recorded this video on a very, okay, you can't see that, but I'm gonna tell you. I recorded this video on a very gloomy, cloudy day. So the space looks a whole lot darker and dingy on camera than it usually does look on a sunny day. But however, my point is, this space is usually dark either way. In the mornings and during sunset, it does look dark. It's how it looks. So what I want is, I want to bring more brightness to the space. I want to bring more airiness to the space. I want to bring my style to the space. Anyways, what I want to do is I want to brighten up the area, but not just brighten it up and have a blank canvas. I want to bring texture. I want to bring dimensions to the walls as well. So that's why I'm going into creating a bottom batten wall in this area. So I went with the color white like I did in my bedroom, because that is my trick tip and hack to any space. If your space looks small, looks cramped, looks dark, bring in a bright color just so the light can bounce, has something to bounce off of, to give the illusion that the space is bigger than what it actually is, and to also bring that bright feeling to the area. So what I'm going to do now is to paint the walls white, and we're gonna get into the bottom batten part a whole lot later. What I like to do when I actually create these patterns on the wall, like when I did the geometric wall in my entryway, and also now in this case of bottom batten, what I like to do is I like to paint my things as separate. I like to paint the wall first, then paint the wood or the MDF on the side, and then attach everything painted. In this case, it's gonna be slightly different. I am gonna paint the boards when they're on the wall, but I do like to paint the wall first, get it to close to its last coat, and then go over everything all together, because I feel like it saves a whole lot more time than to glue everything onto the wall and then have to paint between the spaces, between the grooves, between the nooks, between the crannies. It's a whole lot more labor intensive, in my opinion, than if you paint everything as separate and then you put it all together already painted and just go over it with one last coat. It saves you a whole lot of time than to trying to get a brush to fit into spaces and corners and everything like that. So that's what I like to do in my situation. So you can take that as a bit of an advice for you guys if you're gonna do this. So now that I've painted my wall, which took 5 coats, one more coat than what it took for my bedroom, I'm not complaining as much because it is water-based paint, and what I love about water-based paint is that it doesn't have fumes or too much toxicity in it. You can paint your wall and still stay in the same space as the wall that you've painted without having to inhale all those fumes. And what I also like about water-based paint is that it dries super fast. I was able to get all those 5 coats in. Basically, I was able to get 4 coats in all in one day, and the last coat I got in the following day. So it also dries quick. It saves up a lot of time as opposed to having to wait longer periods for your coats to dry. Alright, going to one of my favorite hardware stores, which is Leroy Merlin. The one thing that I truly appreciate about it is that if you're gonna go to a hardware store, go to a hardware store that makes your life a whole lot easier, where it's more organized, and they also can cut your MDF. I do have a jigsaw, but I do not expect each and every single subscriber or viewer to have power tools. Some people are generally scared of power tools, so I do try to incorporate some videos where I don't use any power tools, and I do show you ways and means that you can go about getting a DIY done or a makeover done without having to use power tools if you're not comfortable with them, or if you just simply don't have the money to buy a power tool for one makeover. This video, obviously, it's nowhere near sponsored by Leroy Merlin, but I would definitely appreciate a sponsorship from them. I'd love to work with them. I'd definitely love to work with them. This video is not sponsored by any of the stores or the companies I'm going to be mentioning in it. I'm going to lay out the MDF and I'm going to wipe off all the dust and debris. That's a tip and trick. Wipe off your walls before you paint them. Wipe off your wood before you stain or paint or anything, because the last thing you want is to have dust particles stuck in between the paint or the stain or the coats or anything like that. You want a clean finish, so wipe off everything before you ever start painting it. So I'm gonna use wood primer for this. I don't think this MDF did need wood priming, and obviously I'm using MDF in this case because MDF is far more affordable than wood or pine wood that I would usually go for, that I did go for in my geometric wall. So the MDF that I'm using, it's more affordable, and it came in a pack of 5. So for 5 of them it was 200 and something, but don't worry, I'm gonna run the costs in the end of the video so that you guys can know how much it cost me to DIY this, so you can calculate more or less how much it's gonna cost you to DIY it should you want to do it yourself. So now that I have primed everything, I'm going to glue this onto the wall, and I'll do the painting after. In this case, your spirit leveler is your best friend, guys. Do not go without your spirit leveler. So what I like to do is I like to apply the glue onto my board and then stick it on. I also like using the no-nail glue. I rave about it in my geometric wall, my entryway video, and I'm raving about it today as well. It is good. It's nice and tacky that you don't have to worry about it sliding off or gliding off. You just stick it on, hold on to it for maybe 10 seconds at most, and it's already adhering to the wall. And it just adheres to the wall until it dries itself onto the wall. And what I like is it does give you a bit of time to actually adjust it, to move it around or anything like that. It gives you that bit of time to work with it before it actually dries on, but you have to also kind of be quick and not take 5 minutes to fix it. As soon as you catch a problem, you can just slide it on the wall until you get it where you need it to be, and you should be good to go. So I started with the vertical panels because I never wanted to put the horizontal one, only to find that maybe I put it slightly lower or too high for the vertical panels. So that's why I'm starting off with the vertical panels. So moving on to the horizontal panels, what I like about the method that I'm using of starting with the vertical ones, when it comes to horizontal ones, I know that my MDF is 1/2 centimeter thick. So around the corners, to add that clean finish to the edges, what I did was I let one of the sides overlap by 1/2 centimeter so that the one MDF panel can lay against the other one, so that it gives a nice clean finish for the whole edges and the corners. So Another thing that I like about using MDF, besides the fact that it's very affordable, it's easy to cut. It's less elbow grease when you're cutting it, so you can easily use a box cutter to cut your MDF. You can use a saw if you do have one. In my case, I can use a saw as well to cut my MDF, and it's a whole lot faster and quicker to work with. It's easier to sand and all that kind of stuff, so it's not a labor intensive material to work with. So moving on to the fact that there were spaces, I don't want to lie, there were spaces between the vertical panels and the horizontal panels, but for the spaces, do not fear. In my case, I used crack filler. You can just use crack filler. It's paintable, it's sandable, and what I did was I filled out all the big spaces with the crack filler, and the small spaces, say just to give it a finish between the board and the wall, what I did was I used the no-nail glue to apply it. I rave about this glue so much in the previous video. In this video I'm doing it as well. I already said that now, and that is because this glue that I'm using is paintable. So what you want to do is you want to use glue that's paintable. That way when you paint over it, the paint can adhere to the glue and the glue doesn't stick out like a sore thumb. So moving on, now that we filled it out, before it completely dries, what I like to do is I like to go over with a sponge, wipe out that little bit of crack filler, just so that I can reduce the amount of time it's gonna spend and the amount of work that I'm gonna spend having to sand all of that off. So always be mindful of each and every single step that you take in your makeover, because being careless in one step can cause more work in the next step. So just to reduce the workload of sanding, I'm just going in with a nice damp sponge and just brushing through and wiping through where I don't need the crack filler, and ensuring that the crack filler is only where I need it to be. And then I went over everything with paint. And to be honest with you, if you're gonna prime your wood or your MDF, prime it with, if you're gonna paint your walls white, in my case, like I did, prime it with white primer, because having a pink undertone and applying white paint on top, it made the boards pop more than the actual wall. So I would advise you guys to prime it with white wood primer instead of what I did, which was use pink wood primer, which is actually good to show you guys that it's primed and everything like that. But if you're gonna do it in your home, I suggest that you use white wood primer. So that is our bottom batten DIY. I really hope that you guys enjoyed it, and don't forget, oh, and I did not forget I did not forget to show you guys how much it cost me for this DIY. I'm gonna show you guys, and I'm gonna place it up here so you can see how much it cost me. In my case, I do have some of the tools on hand. In your case, it might be slightly more expensive because you're buying some tools or some things from scratch. When it came to paint, I had some leftover paint. So when it came to crack filler, I already had that on hand. So some of my projects might be more affordable than when you do them from scratch to get every single thing or every single material from start. So I know I didn't show you guys what it looked like after. When it comes to showing you guys what this hallway looks like after, I will be giving you basically a glimpse of everything overall, so you guys can see what's coming up next on this episode of my hallway makeover, which is going to be the gallery wall and the backlit mirror. So I will be showing you guys that in this after, so you can see how everything comes together and ties together, so that you guys stay tuned for the very end basically. So this is what it looked like before, and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like after shortly. guys, that was our video for today. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Give this video a thumbs up if you really loved it. Comment down below if you have any questions, or if you just feel like commenting down below so we can spark up a conversation, start a conversation. And I do appreciate most of your comments. They're very encouraging, they're very kind, and they're very nice, and I really love them. So keep on commenting down below. I really do enjoy those, and I really do appreciate your support, guys. 1K is I celebrate each and every single milestone, and I'm learning to do that now in my life. I never used to celebrate milestones, but I realized that each and every single thing that you achieve in life, you should actually celebrate, because if you're just gonna celebrate the big wins, you're gonna spend a long time not celebrating. So celebrate every single step that you achieve something, and this is like a great achievement for me, and I really appreciate it. And I love the fact that you guys love me, and I love you guys for loving me. That sounds a whole lot of me's. But anyways, I do appreciate it, and I do love it. I love the support. I love the love. I love the family. I love the Creative Home Living family. So if you're not subscribed to my channel and you're interested in this kind of content, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, don't forget to turn on the bell notification, because guess what? Because I missed last week's post, I'm bringing another post on Sunday. I'm not skipping this Sunday. I'm trying to come through on a Sunday, baby. So that being said, be kind, love, and light, guys. Bye.